Right, Bo. Have you heard Nigel? Oh, I'm sure you have. He's flip flopping like a fish
Hmm.
out of water. You might have heard his splish splashing as he goes. No, Nigel Farage has decided he does, in fact, want to do mass deportations, but only on small boat arrivals,
Oh,
apparently. So,
oh,
so there's that. Also, pledges to Nigel Farage. He's come out on record and said, "Well, their aims, their aims. They're not strictly speaking things that we are. We'll try and do them. They're things that we'd like to do. So they're not actually promises. Basically, he has come out and said that fairly recently. Um, so this is literally just red meat. I'm just going to say from the off, this is obviously red meat by the establishment. I would say the establishment said, Nigel, mate, Nigel, the Reform Containment Project is
hmm.
losing support. Ramp it up, bro. Ramp it up a little bit. He's got no intention of doing any of this. And also, this is weak anyway. Good, you're going to do mass deportations of small boats. Fantastic. Good. This is weak. This is nothing. But let's take a look. Let me regale you with his plan specifically, because I mean it's just weak, super weak. So Nigel Farage is set to publish plans for mass deportations of asylum seekers who come to the UK on small boats, which his Reform UK party would seek to put in place if it entered government. I like the wording, would seek to put in place. Not actually going to
Hmm.
happen, of course.
Hmm.
So he says that he's going to arrest asylum seekers on arrival. So that's automatic detention and forced deportation to countries such as Afghanistan and Eritrea are among the proposals reported to be announced on Tuesday. So he says that he wants to set up returns agreements, basically, is what he's looking to do. So they also include deals with third countries. So we're just going to spend money to other countries again. So that would include reviving the Conservatives' Rwanda link up. Why? And sending asylum seekers to British overseas territories such as Ascension Island, as a fallback option. Mr. Farage said the plans could see hundreds of thousands of people deported and 5 charter flights taking off from the UK every day. So he said, first step, leave the ECHR, scrap the Human Rights Act, and then he was going to legislate, to bar those coming in the UK on small boats from claiming asylum. The aim of the legislation is mass deportations. We have a massive crisis in Britain, he said. It's not only posing a national security threat, but it's leading to public anger that, frankly, is not very far away from disorder. There's only one way to stop people coming into Britain, and that is to detain them and deport them. I mean, that's basically the majority of it. I mean, the fact that he wants to sign deals with Afghanistan and Eritrea, that's fine, I guess. If you can, I don't see an issue with that. Saying he wants to use disused like army, forces bases to house them.
Hmm.
Fine, I guess, to a degree, but we should be reviving them and actually using them for an army. To be fair, so I don't. That's like a bit of this, a bit of that. This nonsense, saying he's going to revive the Rwanda plan or a deal with Albania. I mean, look, mate, Keir Starmer couldn't make a deal with Albania. Albanians don't want Albanians in Albania. Okay, that's not going to happen. They don't. They what? Why would Albania want all their criminals to be sent back? Like, are you joking me? Come on, behave. And also, stop paying people. Stop paying people. Right. Day one should be a case of we're going to close our embassy. Well, we're going to close all of your embassies, and then we're going to close our embassies. We're cutting political ties with you, is what actually should happen, right? That should be first and foremost what you begin to do. Don't pay people money, right? This has been tried and tested throughout history. People just take the piss. Don't pay people money. They're not like Rwanda. The president of Rwanda or prime minister, whatever it is, they're making so much money off the deals. So much money, he's laughing all the way to the bank. Don't give them any more money. What is going on? And I mean, that's basically it. That's the brunt of this. I mean, this is just nonsense.
Hmm.
As I said, to me, I think this is red meat. I mean, 5 charter flights a day. That's not enough anyway. It's not enough anyway. It should be way more than that. And this is just this isn't going to happen. This isn't what he wants to do. You know, and if this was what he wanted to do, this is what he would have started with, not mass deportations are a political impossibility, I think was the direct quote that he said. Yes, it's impossible. It's impossible. I'm not interested in it, he said. He doesn't care. But now he suddenly is. So that's the news, Bo. That's it, mate.
Well, a few points I would say. First of all, on the face of it, good, right? On the face of it, all well and good. Great, you're going to deport all the boat people in a mass deportation. You won't allow them to have asylum seekers. There won't be asylum seekers from small boat people, and and do deals with Afghanistan and whoever, right? So on the face of it, great, nothing to complain about that. Thank you very much. Yeah, should have been saying that from the absolute start. Okay. Then, but then. But the reality is, I agree with you that it's just red meat. I think Nigel feels like he's been painted into a corner that he has to say things like this. Can't allow himself to be flanked on the right by someone like Jenrick or even Starmer. This is not in his heart. This is not what he wants, I would have thought. It makes it ever so slightly more uncomfortable if he has to sit down with Krishnan Guru Murphy on Channel 4 News or something. Ever so slightly more difficult for him to say he's not a racist when he's talking to Robert Peston or something. And also I personally have no faith whatsoever that they would do it if they got into power. Again, like seeking to do it. Yeah, it's
weak, isn't it?
It's super weak. But also another thing to say is that this isn't a massive change in policy. They have said for quite a while that they would. I've seen Tice say for a while now that it's their policy to deport illegals. Right? That's not really what we want. That's the tip of the iceberg. Well, I mean, it is what we want. Sorry, but that's the tip of the iceberg. That's just the very first thing that should be de rigueur, should be taken for granted. That now we need to look at the legals and all sorts of things, revoking citizenship, all sorts of things. So throwing this out, it is a type of red meat that is now prepared to cross the Rubicon and use a word or words like mass deportation. Ooh,
thank you, Lord Nigel.
Politically brave. Yeah, no. So it's not even a massive change in policy. They've been making these sorts of noises for a while now, and it's the very, very least they can do. And I have no faith that they'll do it. I mean, personally, I've said on record, like on the podcast of the Lotus Eaters or whatever, I've said it on camera to at least twice, maybe 3 times, that if the bloody Lib Dems came out and had a super strong asylum policy, I'd get behind them and vote for them. I don't care particularly who the party is or who the leader is. If the policy saves my country and it saves the women folk of this country from getting raped, then I'm all for it. I don't particularly care. But of course, I'm sort of joking about the Lib Dems. Of course, they would never do it. But the point is, if Reform and Nigel did suddenly become ultra-based, start talking the way sort of Carswell does, right? Starts talking about the things I've been saying or Steve Laws says, I'd immediately get behind them and with a smile on my face. And I'd vote for them till my dying days. So it's not that I've got like something personally against Nigel or Reform where like I'm so bitter or disappointed I could never ever get behind them again. If they had strong and good policies that I agreed with, I would be there with bells on. But this is still weak. This is still super weak, and I don't believe they'll do it. It's like when the Tories for years and years and years, going back to the Cameron years, we'll reduce immigration to the tens of thousands. Didn't do it. Boris just flooding us with more people, right? So
I mean,
I don't buy it.
No, not at all. And I agree with you, right? Like, you know, we give Nigel a pretty hard time here on this channel, but we do it because everyone else has been blindsided by him, basically, and everyone else seems to think that he's this messiah that is going to bring about all this change. whereas he's not actually said any of the. He's not saying any of the sort. In fact, he's saying it's effectively status quo. No worries, mate. And so we give him a hard time because I think it's important that there's a little bit more of a pushback on this individual. So it won't be a shock when he doesn't deliver on anything that people, hope for. But if he did, if he suddenly was like, you know what, actually, this is what he should be saying is Boris wave. Yeah, they're going, like they're gone. Like the Boris wave is gone day one. Day one when I get in the country, they're gone. We'll make an assessment on whether they've net contributed over this period of time, and they're gone. No ifs, no buts, they're gone. I'd be like, yeah, mate, Nigel, I'll vote for you. I'll vote for you, bud. No worries. But he's not saying that, right? He's saying this is just weak. Again, and you are right. This is something which they've been saying for a while. I mean, it's not. It's a nothing burger. This is good, but it's barely a start. It's barely a start. This is the equivalent of Keir Starmer doing we'll send one back and then we'll let one in legally. Yeah. It's the equivalent of that. Like it's a nothing burger. It will amount to nothing, really. Yeah, it's sure the small boats are something and it's an issue, but this is nothing by comparison to the main problem, which is legal. They all should be gone. It's just absurd.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned there that lots of people seem to think he's going to sort of save the day and like act in the national interest, the nativist interests, in some sort of hardline way. No, not at all. He hasn't said anything like that. In fact, he signals the opposite. He's signaled, or in fact, explicitly said a number of times, like, no, I'm not a nationalist. Certain things that need to happen are impossible. Or gloating about that he's helped destroy nativist parties over the years. He's never ever said that he's going to do the things that are needed. And throw this on top of that pile. This isn't enough. This is like a gesture.
Yeah,
it's little more than a gesture. And I really do feel like, I mean, this is just my personal opinion here, but I feel like he's only even saying it because of politics. It's not because it's really in his heart. It's not because he's out of true conviction or passion.
It's under duress almost, isn't it? Basically.
It's just like everyone, loads of reform supporters would like him to say something like this. And again, he can't really allow himself to be actually flanked on the right by anyone. So if he says this, that puts him out of the mainstream parties, that puts him furthest to the right. That's the classic game he's always played. Just the tiniest bit to the right of sort of the mainstream. And once again, anything further to the right than that is completely beyond the pale and must be destroyed. And he'll gloat about destroying it. So I don't buy it. The Frogman, Hypnotoad, squatting on the right, trying to destroy anyone that's 1 inch to the right of him. Same old shit.
Nigel Farage, ridiculous.